No, I just said let's go.
Are we early?
Huh?
Are we early?
Are we ready to go?
We're good, we're good.
Okay. We're very honored to have Matt Pavarnik, the head of the Greater Topeka Partnership, join us this morning. Matt, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the September 19th, 2019 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently have the honor of serving as chair of the commission and represent District 3 alongside Commissioner Bill Rippon, who represents District 1, and Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. Good morning, everyone. Morning. First item of business, please.
First item is item 1, proclamations, presentations. Presentation on ours, the appraiser's real estate search, Steve Bauman, appraiser's office, and Asima Shakir, information technology.
Good morning, Commissioners. Pat O'Blander with the Information Technology Department. We're trying to use the acronym ARES, which we're trying to go with ARES.
I was, there
Instead
was
of
no
R's.
I.
I mean, it's spelled
There was
R's,
no I in it. I
but
was
we're
like-
trying for ARES.
Aries.
Yes.
Looks like ours to me.
That's exactly what it spells. We wanted to do a presentation in collaboration between the IT department and the appraiser's office for the appraiser's real estate search function, which is an application that's been present on the Shawnee County website for many, many years. And most people in Shawnee County have had some experience with that website. In fact, it's the most heavily visited section of the Shawnee County web pages, bar none. If you've sat down in a mortgage office or with a lawyer or in any regard had to deal with property issues, looking up the property value, where's the property located, what's its legal description, all of these sorts of things, everybody in Topeka has visited this site. We have spent probably several months, maybe 4 months, working with the appraiser's office and updated the website to make it easier for people to navigate the website and putting into our design the mindset of people as they come in and approach the website. If you're a person that's looking for comparables for your house, it's now much more easy to find that. You can find more detail more quickly. A lot easier to navigate. It's been updated. It's now more web friendly, mobile friendly. A whole lot of features have been baked into this. And we want to have Andrew Muma of our IT department take you through a quick slideshow that shows you some of the before and after screens and show you and demonstrate some of the improvements that have been made and help you understand why we're so excited about the release of this new improved version that is scheduled for launch on Monday the 23rd. It'll be available for all members of the public to view at that point. So with that, I'll turn it over to Andrew to take you through a little bit of an overview.
Morning, Commissioners. Andrew Muma, Shawnee County IT. So kind of what I want to go over, will take about 10-15 minutes of your time to step through IT's perspective on this, some of the challenges that existed with the current site and how we approach those to make them things like more mobile friendly and those types of approaches. And then I'll turn it over to Steve Bauman, appraiser, to cover some of the details of what's available for each individual property. First, I do want to take a little bit of time to thank all the different groups involved here. There's a lot of information at play on the websites here, or on this particular site for the appraiser's real estate search. Firstly, our development team, we've been working hard on this, and there's a lot of information for them to ingest and then turn around and make into a usable format so people can search for those properties, find what they're looking for quickly. The clerk's office and treasurer and deeds offices are providing us with information on specials, levy schedules, and then the taxing information, which we'll cover in a little more detail because some of that information has expanded. And then, of course, a big thank you to the appraiser's office and also our GIS department. We were able to get with them, and they spent a lot of time meeting and helping us understand the data so that we could translate it into the best usable format for the website. So very quickly, I just want to kind of go over the process that we're going through anytime we take on a new development as the IT group. My role is more on the front end here. We do kind of send me out in front of the actual coding work to gather any requirements that the departments may have for us. That saves us a little bit of time with not as many people in the meetings. Those next two pieces here are more development team centric. Once those requirements have been established, we do kind of come back as a group and plan out all the things that are to be done and put time assessments on those. And perhaps the most powerful part of this is the 2-week cycle that you see here. What that allows us to do is have a demo with the department every 2 weeks and get any feedback that they have for us to make sure that we're best aligned with what their expectations are. So in that principle of failing quickly, we want to turn over any missed expectations and address those as quickly as possible. The longer we let our code sit, the more things get established up on top, and it becomes more and more difficult as we progress to change that after the fact. And then, of course, once all of our work has been completed, we do put together a delivery solution for them. Another thing that we leveraged with this project was to do a closed beta. So we did get with Steve's team and discuss kind of the who's of who most often uses this application, and kind of gave them a little bit of a sneak peek. With this being a public-facing app, they are one of the groups, big groups of end users that will be using this, and we also want to make sure that it was usable for that group. So we did take their feedback and incorporate that as well. That was pretty successful for us, so I do see that kind of being a thing going forward for our new development. Okay, so on to the project part of it. Our goals with this project were basically to update the standing website to modern internet standards. We also aim to, anytime we do any rework on anything, eliminate any manual processes that we have if we can automate those. And then provide the best experience possible. Any issues that may pop up, we want to try to address those as quickly as possible. And then a big goal for the department is to move a lot of our infrastructure to the cloud. And I'll talk a little bit about how that saves us time and money. So this first piece here will kind of focus more on the visual elements of what's changed with the application. So to take a look at that, we kind of have to look at what we do currently have. So if you were to load this up on a desktop computer today, this is what you would see. There are a few pain points here. As you can see, the screen is not fully utilizing the width, and the data is not very well grouped. It's not easily scannable. If you were looking for a particular piece of information, it may take you a little bit of time to kind of find that. So those pain points we did go ahead and address, and then this next slide will be the same information in the new iteration here. So address some of the sectioning issues. As you scan through this application now, you can see the logical groups of information by reading those headers. We tried to make it feel as clean as possible, reducing those areas where data was congested down. So that's one half of the visual pieces. And then another big target here is the mobile side. So currently, again, if you do load the app up on your phone, this is what you see. Almost certainly you would have to use your pinch zoom functionality on your phone to be able to read this, and then once you're kind of in that mode, you probably have to scan around a little bit to find exactly what you were looking for. So those are some of the things we wanted to address, and then the same pain points from the desktop side does carry down to the mobile as well. So this is what it would look like after Monday if you load it on your phone. The data should be now, again, more grouped logically. The things to focus on with the mobile here are hopefully you won't be required to zoom at all. The data does populate to use the full width of the screen. We've made the text larger, and that does dynamically resize. So it won't only cover your phones, but also your tablets. We're using what is referred to as a responsive design, so that does expand and contract the information to fill your screen and use the screen width there. Another thing that we've implemented here that you kind of see on mobile applications anymore is what they call a hamburger menu. That just condenses all of the things that may be hidden in a menu until users are ready to actually access that and navigate somewhere. So we're not having to use that screen space until it's needed. The next piece of the modernization will be the cloud-based movement. So this does address all 5 of our goals in one way or the other. Those are the same 5 there from the beginning. And I'll talk a little bit about what that looks like in the cloud services itself. We are leveraging what they call platform as a service. What that means in real terms is the IT team collectively will spend less time updating our servers, updating environments. That all basically becomes automated for us. You go in and select what you want, essentially, and that all propagates out automatically. We do also have the option to use what they call deployment switching. The big advantage there will be that creates a contingency for us in the event that we patch something or add new features to something and it doesn't work as intended. It creates a fallback for us where we can immediately make the application available again should it do something as critical as crash entirely. And then the last piece here is the cloud does allow us to scale the resources that we're consuming, and this is kind of where the cost piece also comes in. Another tool that we use to that visualizes that a little bit better is this is what the trend with the current appraiser's website looks like. We're collecting that through Google Analytics, and again, it does drive about 80% of all of the Shawnee County controlled website traffic. The peaks that you see here are during the week, and then the valleys are the weekends. So in the sense of trying to scale those applications up and down, we may be able to allocate fewer resources in those lower spots and then thus see the cost savings. And that can be done dynamically with different controls that are available to us in the cloud services. The next piece will kind of cover other efficiencies that we gained here. Our automated process that we implemented covers the image conversion for each individual property. There is a set of images that is used in the background. Those images previously were being manually converted, and that was being done on a bi-weekly basis. By automating that, we've eliminated all the time that we dedicate to doing that, and it is actually a side benefit that we're able to run our job that does that now daily. So we should see more frequent updates to the information that's available on the site. And then the second piece here is account management. There is a paid side to this that's available to appraisers and realtors. We've implemented some of the standards that you see across the internet here. Previously, even to do something like reset a password on the account, it would require a phone call to Steve's office, and we've essentially automated that to where people can self-manage those, so you get the kind of change password or reset password functionality that you see other places. And then another piece of control that we've put in place here, previously users were able to sign in with the same credentials on multiple computers, and we've changed that now so that only one user will be available for each set of credentials that we hand out. So the last chunk here will be covering user experience. So this is kind of in the thread of where we've streamlined the application, or we thought maybe some utility was missing from the pages, and expanded those capabilities. Again, we want to look at kind of what the standing application has to see where we're going. This is the two different steps that you would have to go to search a property currently on the website. There's a full page for a disclaimer, and then you do see multiple boxes where you have to select each individual elements of an address in order to complete a search. So we've condensed that down greatly. The terms and conditions big screen has essentially gone away. And then the search terms, you can now just type in the addresses that you'd like directly. So instead of having those 4 steps, you can type 200 Southwest 7th or Southeast 7th Street, or you could exclude the cardinal directions in the street and just type 200 7th, and that will give you the courthouse. So that'll be a big advantage for people trying to find properties that they're looking for. The terms and conditions is still available on the page. If you did want to view that, you just click this terms and conditions and it will pop that up there. Nothing has changed with that. It was just to get that big step out of the way. For people who are returning to the site, it will now remember if you have accepted the terms and conditions. So that should help streamline things as well. Another place where we felt some of the information was unserved or was underserved was the comparables page. As Pat was mentioning, that does drive a lot of the traffic. People looking for values associated to their homes. Some of the same pain points that we saw on the desktop screens earlier do also carry down here. Looking at this screen, it's not immediately obvious where any of those comparables are in relation to the property that's the subject property that the users would be looking at. So what we did here was we got with Lee Allen and the GIS team and just actually implemented a map directly into the page. So that's a pretty cool piece of functionality. You can see here the subject property with the red icon, and then the functionality works together. If you were to click a property on the right, it would indicate the one that is open by the blue tab, and then you can also click on the map on the individual tabs to expand the relative information on the right-hand side there. And then kind of in the same thread of trying to get rid of a lot of those big text blocks, there was a large definition on the old page for that adjusted sale price piece, and we've condensed that down to just this icon here. So it is a question mark. If you click it, it will show that, populate that same definition to the screen. So again, hiding it until people are looking for it, basically. Another place where the information has been expanded that's a big win is the tax information. So we did work with the Treasurer's Office to put this information out there. The actual taxing information did expand. There are 2 new columns here, appraised value and annual tax. So before you were only able to see the outstanding balance, and that created a little bit of confusion about what property taxes were for the individual property and what was owed. This should help clarify that. And then we are also going to move forward on making the tax receipts available online. So our plan for that is to make them available back to 2012, and then once we get to 2022, you will see a rolling 10 years of those receipts available online. If you did happen to need one older than that, you just have to come to the office, but the 10 most recent years will be available online. This is just an example of one of the tax receipts that's available online. It is the exact same thing that you would get if you came and asked for one from the office. The last slide for me here is just to cover the subscriber services. Again, this is a paid portion of the site. It is available to any Kansas appraisers, licensed brokers, or realtors. They do have some exclusive functionality where they can search for sales information, information by land-only sales, exporting their result sets. So if they're generating a list looking in a specific neighborhood, they can create that quickly scannable Excel file, and then additional tools to help them filter down properties more specifically. So any questions for IT?
Are there questions for Andrew?
Okay,
Seeing none. Thank you.
awesome.
Well done, Andrew.
Thank you. And I'll go ahead and hand it over to Steve. He's going to cover a few details on properties.
Nice job, Andrew. Thank you. Steve Bauman, County Appraiser, and I'm really excited about the launch of this to the public come Monday. It's a clean, fresh look with information that's easier to find, and these guys did a fantastic job with it. So I guess, so before I begin the rest of this presentation, I do need to thank Pat Oblander, Asim Sheikh, and Andrew Mumaw and their team for all of the work that they've done, putting up with us. They've been great to work with, responsive to our needs and the needs of our users, sometimes several different times. So I really appreciate everything that they've done. Our management team in our office, Stacy Berry, Tanya Biswell, Lee Allen with GIS, they've put a lot of time and effort into this as well, doing some of the design work and review work that goes into this. So it's been a pretty large collaborative effort. Also need to note that we appreciate the effort that our users, our beta testers, provided us in giving us some feedback on it. So we appreciate that. Most all that feedback was all positive. So I feel like we've ended up with a superb website that is going to be well received. So I'm going to go through some screens. These are PDFs because, at the advice of our excellent IT staff, they noted live demos don't ever turn out well. So I've seen it happen, and I've been party to that before. So Andrew touched on the Omnibox search feature, which you just type in whatever you want to, and you'll get some results. Here we typed in Midwest in the Omni search box, and this is the results of that search. Right away, we got a lot of information available to us. We may not even need to go all the way into the property to get what we need, because a lot of it is right here. We see that there's 41 results for the search for Midwest, and up above, I don't have a pointer, but oh, that works. Up above in the search bar, we can just enter an Omnibox there too, so we can enter whatever we want to and create a new search, or we could enter in this filter box another search criteria to limit the results of the current set. But with this, we can see right away that we have several different types of property. We've got a couple commercial types of property, a land-only property, and a residential piece. And with those, we have different sets of information. With our commercial property up above, we can see the square footage. We can see that it's a garden apartment complex with 27 units. It's year built. And in a lot of cases, this is what our office receives phone calls on. So we know that those are the top question things. With our land, it reports the ag acres and non-ag acres, total land size, and residential, it gives us bedrooms, bathrooms, year built, square foot, finished basement, living area, and things like that. So if I were to click on this top one here, because we want to go into the property, it'll take us in to get more detail. With these screens, they're all set up very similarly, and across the top we have options for building data, property comparables, and tax information, property record card. On the left-hand side, underneath the picture, we can get our valuation notice, we can view it on the map, we can view the zoning map, sales information, if you're allowed to view it, and any specials that may exist. The picture is expandable. If you click on the picture, it'll expand, so you'll get a better shot of it. And If we were to click on this building data link up here, it'll take us inside the parcel for more detailed information. You're going to get just about everything that we carry on this property, all the building characteristics that we have, if you want to see it. So we can see that this is a multiple residential low-rise complex. We can tell you it's got stud hardboard siding, central air over there, and then some details here about the building again. You can see that this property has another building on it, so you can click next to go into the next building. So a lot of good information that's compact and easily readable. What happened there is I just clicked on the sketch, and it expands the sketch, so you can get a printable version of that, and they're easier to read. Some of the sketches are very complex, and they get hard to read, the dimensions and such. And we do get a lot of requests for sketches as well. And so if we move down here and we were to click on this residential property, it'll take us into there, and again, you see the same format, but we're going to have a little bit different information when we click into the property. Up above, you see for residential properties, we have comparables. Andrew went through the property comparables screen where it pops up and shows you on the map where all the comparables are. He also detailed the property tax information screen. When we click on the building data screen, it's a little bit different because it's a different type of property. But right away, this information is pertinent to residential houses. We see it's a ranch with a crawl space, block foundation. Again, we get into the siding, veneer siding, composition shingle roof, central air. So it has a lot more detail, again, readily available. And then this is the valuation notice. I think most everyone is aware of these, but they are available on the screen underneath the image as well. If you click on that link. Up above, and you can't see it in this sheet, but there's what IT calls breadcrumbs, where you can click back to the results nice and easy, or you can use your back button to get you back to the screen. So it's easily maneuverable. And here we click on the land property, and there's not a lot of additional information by clicking into the land property that you wouldn't get from the results screen, because there's not a lot of information there. The one thing that will show up here is if there's ag, it'll tell you now what types of soil it is and how many acres and what type of agricultural property. As well as the values associated with it. And then if we click on the view in map, there's an example of that. It'll take you into the map of the property. This is interactive. You can zoom in and out. From here, you can go back into the appraisal tab. You can look at the tax screen, or you can even jump to Google Maps. So when we go back to the results screen, we can see the results as we saw earlier with pictures and information, or we can go into a list format. And this is that list format. Again, it has information on what type of property it is and the ownership and address. You can get the map and the property record card from here as well. So, subscribers. Subscribers site, it's a paid site for realtors, brokers, appraisers, bankers. Anyone that has statutory authority to view sales information can pay to have a subscriber service. And I think what we're seeing here on the subscriber side is one of our biggest gains for this website. Before, the information that was able to, that the subscribers were able to get was limited and difficult to maneuver through. Before our search options, we only had search by year. Most appraisers want to search within the last 3 months, last 6 months for sales data, and bankers, realtors as well. So we've had the options for search last 3 months, last 6 months, 9 months, a year. You can also put in your own specific dates if you would like to. And then these are other search criterias that if you select, it'll open up, and you can select different neighborhoods or census tracts or different functions if you wanted to. This is the land search. This is our commercial advanced search. Again, very similar format where you can search timeframes. Again, you can have the different neighborhoods and area locators, school districts. And then the building details are going to be different than the land and the residential, of course, because we're going to have different features. This is a screenshot of the residential advanced search. Again, a lot of the same search criteria, same format, so it's going to be familiar and easy to maneuver back and forth between the different search types. The big thing is when we do the search, the information that we get. Here, they're able to see why the information met their search criteria and how comparable the property is to whatever it is that they're looking for. They can also click on any one of these and go into the property record, and you can see the data behind it if you want to or need to. One of the great features here that we've been wanting for a very long time is this export feature. You can export the entire sales list to Excel spreadsheet or CSV file, and that way you can manipulate and analyze the data in different formats. IT also added this additional filter box. So from that list, you can filter these results even further by selecting the options on the left and get it drilled down. Same thing here, card view from that list view. Just this button up here will switch you back and forth. Not that one, that one. But this gives an image of the property as well as the same data that we saw on the basic search side. But the difference here is it has the sales data right below it. And just for reference purposes, this is what you received on the search screen when you provided a search. This was all we got. Again, it only covered a portion of the screen, and you had no idea why it met your criteria. It does give you owner's name and property address, but doesn't give you sales data or anything like that. So you have to click into each one to find out how it met your needs. So going from that to this is just pretty incredible. So I believe I'll be happy to answer any questions. And I hope I covered everything. I know, I mean, we could go
You
really
must have.
deep into this. Good, because you don't have any questions?
Are there questions?
Just briefly,
Commissioner Cook.
I appreciate that this is trying to make this more user-friendly, to adapt to usability, on mobility, noting that it does make up 80% of the traffic for the Shawnee County website. And adding the subscriber access for those that are qualified, what is it that the general public would be seeing go away that they now have access to with the addition of the subscriber? Are we losing anything?
We are not losing a thing. In fact, we're gaining some things.
All right.
And one of the reasons why we provide this information on the website to the public is in the interest of transparency of our office. We provide this information so that everyone can see what we're seeing, what we're doing, how we're looking at it. It also provides us with a little bit of a QC because owners can call us up and say, you know, you have this wrong about my house. Sometimes they call and say, you have this wrong about our neighbor's house. But we need to provide this in order to be transparent and open.
Okay. And if Carol Marple wants to challenge the appraised value of her farm, is she still able to click online and look at what her appraised value is and sales data? Is that still accessible to her?
That is still accessible.
So she would still be able to look at her neighbor's farm and say, why is my neighbor's farm valued, so much lower than mine?
Yes,
All right.
she can.
All right. Because I know that is, again, that's a function that is used by many people if they're going to have a challenge to their appraised value, if they want to come in and sit down with your office and look at the appraised value.
Yeah, there are so many different uses for the website that we realize is out there, but the primary one is what you touched on. For our purposes, is to ensure that everyone has the information in order to consider whether or not they believe their value is fair.
And I appreciate that transparency and fairness.
Yeah.
Commissioner Rippon?
First of all, I'd like to thank all the staff that was involved in this. That was quite a team effort. I use this site a lot, so I appreciate making it a little more user-friendly. It looks like it'll be a little easier to navigate through everything, so good job.
Well, thank you. And like I said, all the credit goes to everyone else. They did a great job. I'm impressed. I like it. If there was an award for websites, this would get one. It's award-winning. So they did a good job.
I agree, and I'm very impressed and with your presentation and with Andrew's. The interesting thing was when Andrew said pain points, I had never heard that expression before, but I knew exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, job well done. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item 3, consent agenda.
4 items on the consent agenda.
Move for approval as presented.
Second.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Under building and maintenance, Benzweiler Glass, $17,476 is for new front doors at Central Park Community Center. Total vouchers, September 18th, $559,118.34. And I move that we approve the vouchers.
Second.
Motion made to approve the vouchers by Commissioner Rippon, and that was seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve the correction orders by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B, Parks and Recreation number 1, consider approval of request for a project budget of approximately $85,522 to renovate Veterans Park with $19,570 utilizing capital maintenance 3R funds, $18,952 utilizing current operating funds, $2,000 funded from the MCP Development, Inc., and $45,000 being funded through the Noto Arts and Entertainment District, and authorization and execution of contract C 341-2019 with Noto Arts and Entertainment District for management and improvements of Veterans Park.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. I'm here today to talk about something that actually started for me personally 9 months ago when I started. It's one of the first meetings I had when I joined Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. I think it started a little bit before that, actually. But we're here to ask for you to approve a project budget for improvements to Veterans Park and the parking lot in that area. And I had a picture, but it doesn't look like it wants to come up, but I might try that again here in a second. And then secondly, an agreement with the Noto Arts and Entertainment District to manage portions of this park, and I'll explain that as we go through this presentation. I do have Tom Underwood here with me today, and in a minute I'll ask Tom to come up and say a few words. But as far as the project budget, what we're trying to do here, and it is a partnership, as I mentioned, so the folks at Noto have been gracious enough to agree to renovate the parking lot. We're talking about the parking lot that's between Kansas Avenue and the Kansas Avenue Bridge. That was on my picture, but doesn't Doesn't appear to want to work, and this is kind of getting embarrassing. This is my second time up here without being able to. There we go. Here.
If you'll unplug the USB, plug it back in, it'll come up.
I think I got it. Thank you. Okay, so not nearly as fancy a presentation as we just saw, but not as much information either. So this parking lot is the one we're talking about. This is Kansas Avenue up here. This is the bridge over here. So it's this parking lot that will be resurfaced. And like I said, NODO has been kind enough to agree to do that. That's approximately $45,000 worth of work. The remaining portion of this budget is to do renovations at, this is Veterans Park. This is an extension of Veterans Park right here that gets us from the parking lot onto Kansas Avenue. So a lot of folks, when they go down for First Fridays, park in this parking lot and walk through this area. In-house, we sort of refer to this as Breezeway Park, but it's actually just part of Veterans Park. So that's where the renovations will take place there. We'll be doing some concrete pads where vendors can set up there for First Fridays. We'll be doing improvements to the lighting. We'll be doing some berms and some landscaping to sort of define this area on the back half of this. And a little bit of work to renovate some of these walls on either side of this park, which we actually own. We own a little bit of those walls, which Commissioner Rippon informed me about it some time ago. So anyway, total budget price for this was $85,522. As I said, NODO, we'd be paying $45,000 of that. And we also have a third partner, which is MCP Group, which we had here a couple of weeks ago doing improvements at Cushionberry Park. They're also going to do some of the dirt work here for us, and that was part of the agreement that we passed here a few weeks ago. So with that, at this point, I'd like to ask Tom if he'd like to come up and maybe say a few words.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity. You know, NODO's a destination place. I know everybody in this room knows that. What you may not know is that we're also a destination place for the region. Just based upon the guest book at the Arts Center, we have people from Kansas City, Nebraska, Oklahoma, but we also from California to Maryland, from Minnesota to Texas, as well as many other countries. We have a lot of people come to NODO. NODO, everyone loves NODO. We started a capital campaign about a year ago because we wanted to make it a better place. We wanted to enhance the beautification and the infrastructure and make the visitor experience more positive. And part of that capital campaign was supported by an award from JADO, the Quality of Place Funds. And a big part of that was trying to, again, to support beautification and the enhancement of the infrastructure. You know, parking is a big part of that, okay, to beautify for the parking, as well as the just overall beauty and enhancement, parks. And so this agreement, this partnership with the Parks and Rec Department really speaks to that. So part of what we're doing with our JADO funds is help to enhance, to improve the parking lot. It is well overdue, needs to be improved. But we also wanted to make the Breezeway Park more than simply a sidewalk. We wanted to make it a destination place in and of itself. So I've been very impressed and very pleased in terms of working with Tim and John Boyd and others with the Parks and Recreation Department to this partnership, this collaboration for really a shared vision. And we feel like by doing this is just a really great example of things that we can do, this partnership between NODO and government to really enhance NODO and to make it even more of a comprehensive place that people want to visit. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there questions for Tim?
Sure. You talked about lighting. I know it's really dark going through there.
It is.
From one area to the other. What, is this going to be like a overhead type lighting or bollard lighting?
That's what we're looking at right now is, scroll up here a little bit. Since we do own these walls of these two buildings, we are talking about trying to do some string lights across. That's the direction we're heading right now.
Okay. Can you scroll that picture up just a little bit so we can see the lower part of that parking lot.
Yeah,
Okay, that green area down at the bottom.
right here.
At one point, we gave Westar, I don't know if it was an easement or whatever, some temporary, or I don't know if it was temporary, may have been permanent, to use that space. And they had a little substation in there, and they have since taken all that electrical, whatever it was. You know, I'm not an electrician, but it was like a little substation. It's been removed. We might look and see if we can get that back. I don't know. They're not using it anymore, and I don't know who owns it at this point, but it might be a good thing to look in to see if we can get that back.
That's actually good information, because I know, as we've talked about the parking lot, that's been a point of discussion.
But that's why that's been carved out. It was like a little substation of some sort.
We'll do that.
All right.
Any other questions or comments?
Move for approval.
1 second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Next item, please.
Item C, Public Works, number 1, consider approval of request to hire a fleet supervisor at a salary including benefits of no less than $65,733.10, and any position that becomes vacant as a result of filling this one.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. Due to a recent retirement, I'd like to fill a fleet supervisor position and any vacancies that may arise from filling that position. The fleet supervisor obviously takes care of our fleet of approximately 75 pieces of equipment, and he or she would supervise then all the mechanics, the part specialists, and I guess technically half of the assistant fleet supervisor, because just a reminder, the assistant fleet supervisor is split between Public Works and Solid Waste. Questions?
Questions?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item C2, consider approval of request to issue a request for qualifications for on-call right-of-way appraisal and acquisition services for various infrastructure projects for calendar year 2020 with funding from the approved project budgets or department operating funds.
Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works since January 1 of 2009. Taggart and Associates has been our acquisition and appraisal provider, vendor. And through 10 amendments, they are providing that same service through the end of this year. At the request of Mr. Archer, last December, he asked that we send this out for maybe to explore a new vendor. And so that's what we're asking to do right now.
Questions? I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Kurt. Next item, please.
Item D, Health Department, number 1, consider approval of request to fill a health promotion specialist position at a salary including benefits of $53,436, and any position that becomes vacant from filling this one.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. Before you today is a request to approve this position. We did have this position several years ago, but we're bringing it back because this position would be working in our very busy Community Health and Outreach Planning Division. So Craig Barnes is the division manager for that division, and he can tell you that they are running, trying to keep up with the media, with the work with the Chronic Disease Risk Reduction Grant, with all the community-based organizations that we feel we need representation at those meetings. And so we have grant funding to pay for half of this position this year and ongoing. And we also have it covered in our budgets, excuse me, for 2019 and 2020. We worked with the Human Resources Department and the Teamsters to get this position back. I also have Amanda Monholland with us today. She's the Health Promotion Coordinator. She will be the supervisor for this position. So if you have any specific questions, I'm sure she'd be glad to come up and answer those. So I would also be happy to answer any questions about this position that you might have.
Questions for Amanda or Linda?
I have no questions.
This, we were talking earlier about how difficult it is to recruit good healthcare people. And I wish you good luck with recruiting. It's, with the employment situation in Topeka and Shawnee County, it's just hard to get good people. So I'll move to approve the request.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item, please.
Item E, Stormontville Event Center. Number 1, consider approval of request for a payment of $55,759.54 for capital repairs to the SVEC chiller system and ice plant using SVEC capital funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Donna Casebear from Stormontville Event Center, Inspector Venue Management. Request in front of you for $55,749 from capital repairs for the chiller system and ice plant. The 2 attachments gives you the breakdown between the 2 projects. These requests have been approved by the advisory board. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Other questions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Next item, please.
Item F, Commission, number 1, the public hearing regarding the Sherwood Regional Wastewater System on September 23rd has been canceled and will be rescheduled for a later date.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Opportunity for anyone from the public, department heads to address the commission.
Hello, it's Carol Marple. First of all, Commissioner Cook, yes, we did use that. We did appeal our property value one time, and Ben went clear up to the hearing. And they thanked him very much and said, "We're so happy you brought this to our attention. Gosh, we underappraised it. We're going to raise your taxes some more." Never appealed again. So, yes. I wanted to give you an update on how the protest petition is going. We believe that we have half of the signatures that are needed. I have personally collected over 530 signatures, right at 10% of what is needed. We have 88 circulators out there collecting signatures at this moment. We add more every day. I know that Monday's meeting is canceled, so we will continue our updates through the media. I cannot even thank them enough for the coverage that they have given us. Today I will be at the California Crossing parking lot from 4 to 6. That's across from the Dillon store. Saturday, I will be at the downtown farmers market from 8 to 12. And we would like very much to invite everyone to an over-the-top rally Sunday at Garfield Park from 2 to 5. We hope everyone will come, have a bottle of water and a cookie, and say hi. We're doing an awesome job. Remember, we couldn't start gathering signatures till September the 11th. I can't thank everyone enough. Together, we've made a great team.
I will say again that if the petition passes, Shawnee County stands to lose over $2 million in state grant money to provide for the Deer Creek Trail in East Topeka. Please keep that in mind and don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Anyone else to address the commission? Commissioner Cook.
I don't have anything.
Commissioner Rippon.
I don't have anything.
You don't? We had a gathering last night at the FOP Lodge that I thought one of the other commissioners would address to kick off the campaign for Brian Hill to be reelected for sheriff. And I was fortunate enough to make a few comments about Sheriff Hill and basically said that I always ask leaders in our community, are we making improvements? Are we getting better? Are we making progress? And I'm happy to report in the sheriff's office, we're making progress every single day. The only other thing I want to mention is that there will be no meeting Monday, but we will be back next Thursday for my final meeting. Next item, please.
Item 6, executive session.
There's not a need for an executive session, so we're officially adjourned. Thank you so much for attending today.